Hey everyone, welcome back. Today we're gonna have a look at the Platinum Plaisir. This is a slightly upgraded version of the Platinum Preppy, one of the most popular fountain pens. What Platinum has done to the Preppy in order to upgrade it is that they switched from polycarbonate body and cap to body and cap mostly made out of aluminium. There are different color versions out there, but I picked this green one. The cap is slightly longer than the one on the Platinum Preppy, and the body itself is slightly shorter. The pen has still the basic shape of the Platinum Preppy, but now the cap is slightly more rounded, and the clip, we now have a fully metal clip. Unfortunately, it isn't spring-loaded, but it still works quite well. We also have this thick metal ring on the cap, engraved Platinum Japan Plaisir. The end of the body is similar to the end of the cap. It's just a simple rounded shape. The cap remains push-pull, and what I don't like so much is how thick the band is. It reminds me of the band on the Jinhao 100, which I am also not a huge fan of. What's interesting about the cap is that there is a small plastic ring inside, so when you cap the pen, the metal doesn't touch metal. Instead, the metal body touches the plastic ring inside the cap band. The metal cap still has the same plastic insert with a spring, so it continues to perform very well when it comes to sealing. I didn't have any issues. It really works well, just like on the Preppy. When it comes to the section, it's identical to the one on the Preppy. Exactly the same material, shape. The nibs are identical as well, and you can swap the entire section with the Preppy. The reason why you might want to do that is that the Preppy also comes in extra fine nib size, which Platinum calls 0.2, while the Plaisir only comes in fine and medium. Unscrewing the barrel reveals the cartridge converter filling system. Unfortunately, converter still doesn't come included in the package. What's interesting about the body is that there is a steel insert inside the aluminium body. So this steel insert screws into the plastic part on the section. So you have to be a little bit careful not to cross these threads, otherwise you might strip the plastic threads on this section. This still wouldn't be a huge deal, as you can, in the worst case, buy a Platinum Preppy and just use the section from the new pen. The Preppy can develop micro cracks on the body, and the Plaisir completely fixes this issue. The metal body also doesn't have as much tendency to unscrew from the section as the plastic one on the Preppy. So overall, the Plaisir fixes all of my complaints about the Preppy when it comes to build quality, and there isn't much else to fix about the Preppy, so I'm very happy with it. The Plaisir is 142 mm long when capped, slightly longer than the Platinum Preppy or the Lamy Safari. At 16.6 grams, it also doesn't feel too light like the Preppy. 9 grams and 122 mm when uncapped, it feels a little too short for longer sessions. Luckily, it posts very well. At 152 mm, it's shorter than the Preppy, even though the cap is much longer, and it's much shorter than the Lamy Safari. So let's have a look at how it writes. So this is the Platinum Plaisir, 0.3 millimeters nib, which they mark as a fine nib, and the ink is the black platinum cartridge. Since this nib is identical to the one on the Platinum Preppy, there are no surprises. It has a little bit of feedback and no obvious issues. The line it makes is about 0.4 millimeters, which in the European sizing we would call EF, extra fine. When it comes to skipping, there are no issues. Horizontal vertical line variation, there is basically none. And the wetness, it's slightly dry, but nothing too much to complain about. Hard starts, no big issues. It's just that the ink doesn't really flow super well when you are writing too fast. When it comes to flex, it's a fairly stiff nib. You are not getting too much line variation out of it. Reverse, it's a little bit scratchy, but the ink keeps flowing and you get a very fine line. It's not the most exciting nib out there for sure, but at this price category you are not expecting one. These platinum nibs are quite reliable and consistent. Ergonomically, there isn't too much to complain about. The section is 10 mm wide at the narrowest point, then tapers up to 10.5 mm. There are no sharp edges anywhere on the pen. Even unposted, it works reasonably well, but I prefer to use this pen posted. And the plastic liner inside the cap band prevents metal-on-metal contact, which I appreciate. Overall, I like this pen. The finishes that are available are quite interesting. I like that it looks more professional than the Preppy, which looks a little bit cheap. The clip is functional and I like the shape of the body. The white cap band makes it look a little bit cheap, but I guess that's still acceptable at the price point. The Plaisir currently retails for about 18 euros or $18, triple the price of the Preppy on the Western markets. However, it fixes all the issues that I see with the Preppy, namely cracking pen bodies and the very rudimentary look. In Japan, the Plaisir retails for about 8 to 9 euros or dollars when converted, and you can tell that it's meant to be quite an affordable pen. It also still doesn't come with a converter, but I believe it's still a great value even if you are not in Japan. And that's all for today. Thanks a lot for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!